Alright, this is the continuation of the Savage rifle for Joel. We're going in the back of the receiver right now. Clean off that lens there a bit. So it looks like the ramp there has a burr on it. Let's see if I can polish that stuff up right there. That's where the cartridge bullet hits as it feeds into the chamber. Alright, so this is the chamber area that holds the case. This is where the case neck sits, right before the lands and grooves. Right here. So this throat area, right there's the lands and grooves. So I'm pulling this out because I got a measuring stick on the back of this. So it's worn pretty good. That happens with the type of case that the 30-06 is. The combustion doesn't stay inside the case. It tends to hit the throat area more so. And a copper carbon. That oil, shiny liquid you see is oil from when I recut the crown. So don't worry about that. And a carbon right there. A lot of copper in the grooves. Don't worry, we'll get it all cleaned up. Might take a while. Might take a couple of evenings letting it soak. There's a little plug that I put down in the bottom and set it up right and just let it soak. Vortex gonna get its work out for sure. Yeah, and then as you get towards the end of the barrel, it's less and less because the powder's getting burned and not so bad. We'll get down towards the end. Just comes from not knowing how to properly clean. Alright. Stay tuned. Alright, I've been at this for a little while, maybe an hour and a half, and I decided to show you what it is that I'm doing so you'll have a better understanding. So this patch, see if I can get it to where it's clear. That's what just came out of the barrel that I pushed through the barrel. Because it's blue and got a little bit of a green tint, that means it's still soaked and the metal inside the barrel is impregnated with copper. So that's the stuff that I'm trying to get out. So it looks like that. Also, these were some of the first that went through. And that's just mostly carbon, but just nasty stuff that was in the barrel over the years. So I've had this with the Vortec copper remover in here for a little bit, and I'm just gonna start pushing patches through again. And what I do is I have a good rod, Vortec rod. It's got ball bearings on it that spins. And then I got a little jag that's got a pierced tip on it. And you just put the patch like that. And then just take some Vortex solvent, copper solvent remover. So right now, normally I use a bore guide, but I'm not right now because I'm hoping some of this cleaning solvent and all that gets down into this action and makes it easier to clean a little bit later. But anyway, right now I'm inside the chamber right about here, and it started getting a little bit tight. So this is where you kind of push it through. There we go. So this is still pretty nasty, obviously. I've been doing that right there. So that's after a little over an hour of cleaning. Now, the other thing is you got to be careful when you pull this back out, and that is where a bore guide really helps. So that way you don't nick up your crown. But I can straighten up your crown, considering I just cut you a new one. But yeah, just put that in there. And again, that one was sitting for a few minutes. I like to have them sit. And that one came off. But see, that right there was just sitting in your action. And look how nasty it is. So that's why I'm letting that stuff sit there, hoping it's gonna break it loose. Seems to be doing the job. And I got different tips and mop ends that can get inside the action here and do a good job. But that'll be after I get all the barrel done. Yeah. So we're trying to get this perfectly clean all the way back down to the bare metal, so that way we can send this off and have it nitrided. That'll just help protect it, make it easier to clean, make the action run more smoothly, trigger components. Yep, still pretty nasty. What I'll do is I always clean the rod after I run it. Look at the gunk on it right there. So I always clean it. You don't want to keep putting that stuff back in the action barrel chamber. So what I'll end up doing tonight is I will plug up the end down here and fill the barrel up full of this Vortec copper remover. I mix them. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I'll mix it with some of the carbon remover as well and just let it soak. Just give it time. nasty. So a couple more, and then I'm gonna clean it out with 99% alcohol, and then I'll take another video real quick of the barrel just to see where we're getting along at. Alright, I'm gonna do alcohol. Alcohol just gets out all the gunk and neutralizes the cleaner. Pretty nasty. I've seen worse though. I know Steve's Model 70 was really bad. It took about, not exaggeration, probably 40 hours of cleaning. It was awful. But we got it shooting just under ½ inch. Our load. Alright, I'm gonna run a couple of dry patches through there. So right now I'm running just dry patches. I like to spin it, get a little bit tighter. Pretty nasty. So I'll get most of that later. Let's do a real quick video. And I'll put these videos of the boar into this video. Alright, so I spent some time cleaning the Savage out, maybe 30 minutes. I'm just going to go in and just look at everything. I didn't pay attention to the action yet, I'm just doing the chamber in. So. Okay. That's a little bit better. This is the lines and grooves. You can see much better now where they're worn off. They should probably mostly all look like that at the beginning. And see how that's not even, not perpendicular. That one, you can see that it's chasing that one first, and then that one as they go around in the circle. So that'll lead to inaccuracy as well. And then that one comes back out. But it's a little bit cleaner. Still got a pretty good amount of carbon and copper, but we're getting there. So this is pitting. That's just from the corrosion. But that might be, yeah, it's a lot of carbon on top. So gotta really go at this with the carbon cleaner. But so far, looking pretty good. Again, I only spent just a little bit of time just knocking out the thick stuff. We'll keep making progress. Alright, recording. Alright, here we go. Definitely cleaner. Yeah, looking good. So we're back at the lands and grooves. Yeah, looking good. They're worn, but that's to be expected. So it's looking much better. You can still see it's got some copper down in there, and carbon right through there. Right there. I have no doubt this thing will shoot better when we get doing everything. I mean, it may not be a half-inch gun, but it isn't going to be a 3-inch gun like it was shooting the other day. That's a lot of pitting right there. And that's the type of stuff we're going to try to clean out, and then when we nitride it, it'll harden that up and the bullet won't grab into it as much. Yeah, a lot of pitting and stuff. I'll also use a JB paste, ISO paste, like that. Maybe it'll smooth out some of that stuff. So not bad. Much better. You can see some of the copper there on the right. And that's it. Alright, we'll get her done. Continuing on with the Savage. I got about 5 to 6 hours of actual cleaning and 6 hours of letting it soak. So we're going to see what it looks like here. There's a lot inside this action I have to get to, as you can see right there, but right now it's not what I'm focusing on. That alcohol really is starting to turn it white. Definitely cleaner. Got some stuff I gotta get out, but here we are going into the chamber. Definitely cleaner. I could probably, starting right now, take some of the ISO or JB paste and polish this up a bit. Going into the lands and grooves right here. So that right there is where the case neck ends. You got the lead, rebore. So there's the beginning of the landing groove. Let's see how it's shorter. The other one's more pronounced, starts sooner.
kind of worn off. To be expected though. As you go up, they get more pronounced. So what I'm mostly looking at right now is just, did it get rid of a lot of the copper and carbon? A lot of pitting, caustic, acidic type reactions due to the unburnt powder and copper and primer residue. So far it looks much better. Don't see any copper buildup. Very little carbon buildup. Probably another hour or so and this will be done. Some pitting. Again, I'm just kind of doing a quick, just seeing how bad we are. But we've come a long way. Tool marks. Yep, I don't see any copper or yep, so far it looks pretty good. The crown. Okay. To be continued. Alright, I think I'm just about wrapped up here with this Savage. Let's check it out here. Again, I got to clean the action out. This is where the bolt lugs go. But again, I've just been focusing on the barrel. Looking pretty good. A little bit of alcohol still drying in there. So again, that's where the case mouth is. This is the free bore and lead. There's the start of the land and the groove. Still a lot of pitting and corrosion. I've seen worse. Main thing is we got all the copper. I'd say 95% of the carbon out. This is just corrosion and pitting from improper cleaning and Normally when I inspect a barrel in detail, I'll follow one landing groove all the way down, and then I'll come back and do another one. Yeah, just a lot of So believe it or not, one thing that'll help is to actually shoot this some more and kind of fill in all those little crevices and whatnot. I'm not saying it does it perfect, but plus we get it nitrided, and that'll help with the corrosion any further, and also with consistency with velocity and wear and tear on the barrel. Alright, I think that's good enough.